question from an administrative professional who is struggling with her executive that she supports. It's a little bit of a long question. I'm going to read every word of it because I think it's important. I want you to get the real gist of the situation going on here. I feel that many of you will relate to the situation. So this person says, my executive treats me like a servant rather than a business partner. I've told him in previous conversations regarding him being late to appointments and interviews that I'm looking out for his brand, and he has told me that is not necessary. When I started working for him, he sent me for coffee and to Walmart for cream of wheat and lotion. Very specific. He even had the nerve to ask me to buy his deodorant and then changed his mind. I've worked for him for just over 5 years, and the personal errands have pretty much stopped. However, with our current situation, COVID-19, it took him 3 weeks with me working from home to even ask me how I was doing, and it was in a meeting with other people. He expects me to be available 24/7, 365 days a year. He's called when I'm in the restroom, and I've told him I will not answer the phone when I'm in the restroom, even if he does. I told him I don't want to have to answer my phone while I'm on PTO, but that doesn't prevent him from calling or texting when I am. The other day, I walked away to go to the restroom and to the fridge to get a drink. I was gone from my computer for about 7 minutes and came back to an IM that said, I need you to be on top of IM and phone. Working from home is hard enough, but the few times I reach out, please be alert. He waited until 5 minutes before his meeting to reach out to me to ask me to move it back 30 minutes. This is my first official job as an executive assistant, so please feel free to let me know if I just need to suck it up. If not, do you have any suggestions about how to approach an executive like this? He claims he doesn't know what he would do without me, but he has a funny way of showing it. Oh, okay. Definitely, I'm interested to know if any of you could relate to this. So if you are new here, you may not be aware that I am a very proud former executive assistant. So when I read this, I was like, oh, I know this. I know this executive. I might have even worked for this executive. But here's the deal. So there's some emotion in this message. So I'm going to take the emotion out and I'm going to deal in facts. So first off, I can see this person's email address. And so I know that this person may be working for someone who has a military background. I say that only because it's important to know that various executives have different personalities, and a military background kind of implies a certain type of work style. There can be some more direct communication happening, and that's just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Different people communicate differently, and this person may be communicating a little more directly because of their background, perhaps. Now the question, this person says, is this normal? Should I just suck it up and get used to it? Some of this is normal. Some of this is just part of the job. So the point about he waited until 5 minutes before a meeting to ask me to push the meeting back by 30 minutes. Happens all the time. That is truly part of the job. Is it easy? Absolutely not. It does require you to kind of drop everything and try to adjust the schedule on the fly. A lot of times the executives don't know that they're going to need this kind of adjustment until in the moment. And so they have to drop everything to let you know, and then you have to drop everything to deal with it. And that really is an element of the role that you could potentially sit with the executive and talk to them and see if there are situations where you can have more notice. But at the end of the day, last minute notification on things like that is going to happen. So the thing that I find interesting too about what this person shared is that the personal errands, for example, they said the personal errands have pretty much stopped, which tells me this person's trainable. This executive is trainable. You didn't want to do the personal errands, and clearly you created some sort of a limitation there. And so they're trainable. The personal errands have now stopped. Personal errands are one of those things that it depends on organization, the person that you're supporting, the defined expectations that have been laid out. I personally, as an executive assistant, I did do personal errands for the gentleman that I supported my last role. I was personally involved in his life because having his life run smoothly meant that his work could run smoothly. And my job was to help make sure that he could be as effective as possible in the office. And sometimes that meant that I needed to go pick up his dry cleaning and I needed to go get him lunch. And that was just the way that it worked. But people have different expectations. Executives do and assistants do. So this just really highlights the importance of being clear about expectations, hopefully on the front end of a relationship. You know, when you're forming the partnership, what are the expectations for answering phone calls in the evenings and on weekends, making sure that you are defining what appropriate limits are for you. You know, the restroom thing I think is kind of funny because I've seen this so many times with executive and assistant partnerships where, you know, do you answer the phone in the restroom? And it sounds like this person has laid out a very clear expectation. I'm not answering the phone when I'm in the bathroom. It's not going to happen. And that's fine. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with setting a limitation. It doesn't mean that they're inherently bad because they didn't already know your limit. You need to communicate your limit and then they can respect it or not, but you're not answering that phone. If they call when you're on PTO and you've said, I'm not picking up the phone when I'm on PTO, don't pick up the phone. They can call, but you're not going to pick up the phone because you've already set that limit. You've already had that agreement with them. So it comes down to communication and really holding firm to what your limits are. If you let them know, I'm going to be on PTO, tell them I'm going to be on a cruise and I'm not even going to be able to answer the phone. You can't do that now. Now it's not going to work. But you know what I'm saying is that you tell them what that expectation is. And then if they call, you've already said you're not picking up that phone. So the point about, like, you know, being away from your desk for 5 minutes and then him saying, well, you really need to be on top of it and making this deeper implication like you're not ever there. I come back to, I think that's a personality thing and it's also a stress thing. Everybody is under stress right now. And as your executive said, working from home is hard enough. That's giving the clarity that this is coming from a place of stress. And so in those types of situations, as an assistant, one of the things that I got very comfortable with is I recognize it's not about me. You know, that is not about me. And I would often say, okay, I'm sorry. You know, okay, I'm sorry is kind of the appropriate, acceptable way to just say, I hear you, but I'm also not taking that too seriously because I was away from my desk for 7 minutes, you know, but I don't need to get into it with them either. I think it boils down a lot to communication and to understanding personality differences and understanding expectations and having clear communication with this person. And then the last thing I would just say too is just remember that not every partnership is going to be a perfect fit. And this might be teaching you some really great lessons about what you want in your next executive that you support. So, you know, if it's not the right fit, you at any point in time can say, I'm ready to look for that next person to support that might be a better fit, because there are so many great executives out there to support. And if this is not the right fit for you, you know, I know this is your first time officially as an executive assistant. And so don't give up on the role. It might just not be the right partnership for you.